powerful new campaign ad from Kamala Harris aimed at women has visibly triggered top Trump ally and major conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. And his frothing at the mouth overreaction seems to have disturbed another top Trump ally and conservative commentator, Megyn Kelly. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have a couple of clips to look at in this video, but we need to start with the ad itself. This is a new campaign ad targeting women on behalf of Vice President Kamala Harris, and it's narrated by Hollywood celebrity and movie star Julia Roberts.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose, you can vote any way you want, and no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls. Vote Common Good is responsible for the contents of this ad.
So again, a powerful ad which actually follows comments that were recently made by former First Lady Michelle Obama, and we're going to play that clip as well because it's really important. But that ad is just basically articulating like, hey, if you're a wife and you disagree with the political views of your husband, you are not legally or morally obligated to vote in accordance with his values. If you disagree on politics, you and your husband are free to vote however the hell you want. That's a right enjoyed by him. It's a right enjoyed by you. Even if you feel the pressure to believe otherwise, or the inclination, or are pressured by your husband or others to do otherwise. It's just a reminder, you can do whatever you want, whatever you think is right. Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA founder, major conservative commentator, top Trump ally and surrogate, he's not happy about this at all. And he was really upset during an interview with Megyn Kelly.
And she needs people to basically lie to their husbands, which they are promoting, by the way, which I find that entire advertising campaign so repulsive. It is so disastrous. It is just like
I'll show it in a minute.
It is the embodiment of the downfall of the American family. I think it's so gross. I think it's so just nauseating where this wife is wearing you'll show it, wearing the American hat. She's coming in with her sweet husband who probably works his tail off to make sure that she can go, you know, and have a nice life and provides for the family. And then she lies to him saying, oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. And then she votes for Kamala Harris as her little secret in the voting booth. Kamala Harris and her team believe that there will be millions of women that undermine their husbands and do so in a way that it's not detectable in the polling. And she needs people to basically...
Yeah, so a couple of things. I mean, obviously, he's very upset by this. Note Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly, again, who voted for Trump. She's a Trump apologist. She is a major conservative commentator. She's pretty stone-faced during this. And I suspect, maybe I'm wrong, that she disagrees with some of the sentiment, right? She actually went on, she called out the Trump campaign during a recent episode of the Megyn Kelly show for their quote-unquote bro-tastic messaging, their bro-tastic rhetoric, their attempts to drive women away. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems commensurately she would probably not have an issue with women being reminded that they have a right to vote in a way which is not in accordance with what their husband wants. Charlie Kirk seems to disagree. He seems to, you know, have the belief that women are chattel property of their husbands. You know, that husband, and he invents this whole elaborate backstory. It's amazing how he's actually immersed himself in the alternate universe, in the fictional universe, you know, from this 30-second ad. You know, this guy, you know, he wears a hat and you know, he seems really nice. His cool name's probably Frank. He grills, you know, every weekend, you know, he throws baseball with his sons. You know, he works really hard and he provides a good life. She probably doesn't work. She's probably lazy and just, you know, stays home and he provides for her. And then she lies to him and votes for Kamala Harris. I mean, bro, chill. I mean, we could write this fan fiction together. He could be a stay-at-home dad. He could be a stay-at-home dad. He could have been laid off recently and succumbing to the thralls of alcoholism while she provides for the family. And their political disagreements has led to some underlying tension, but she's trying to make it worse, even though he is putting all of his emphasis, all of his spiritual energy in the outcome of this 2024 election. And that's why he seems so vaguely manic and vaguely intense in terms of how she votes, almost lingering over her. I mean, we could do this. We could concoct all sorts of elaborate scenarios. It's a 30-second ad, okay? And the point of the ad is this. Your wife, anyone else's wife, anyone's partner, period. Husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, doesn't matter. They're eligible voters. they have a right to vote however the hell they want. And listen, I'm not saying that these political disagreements don't matter. Listen, it is perfectly reasonable for sincerely held political disagreements to cause tension and to be really important in relationships, especially if you believe that politics are a reflection of your values. Totally understand that. But women have a right to vote however the hell they want, regardless of their marital status. And it's not a lie to go in and vote for Kamala Harris. It's not a lie to go in and vote for Donald Trump. None of these things are a lie. It doesn't have to be predicated on a lie. She didn't lie in the 30-second ad. It's not like he said, did you vote for Donald Trump? And she said, yes. But by the way, let's be very clear about this. However ill-advised it may be, if she feels like she has to lie, and maybe that's an indictment of the marriage itself, but that's not illegal either. But even the ad doesn't endorse lies. It wasn't predicated on lies. There was nothing wrong with the ad, unless, of course, you believe that women don't have a right to vote their conscience and that they should defer to what the voting preferences of their husbands. And by the way, many prominent MAGA personalities believe this. Dale Partridge has a big following on Twitter. This has just made the rounds, and thank God it's being ratioed. Thank God, still has 3,000, 4,000 likes. This is from a pastor. Okay. He says, in a Christian marriage, a wife should vote according to her husband's direction. He is the head and they are one. Unity extends to politics. This is not controversial. And he goes into vivid detail. He responds to people. I'm not saying women should unify with their husband in sin. I'm saying Christian women should follow their Christian husband in all things, including politics. And he even goes so far as to say that voting in sin would be voting for Democrats. Now, submission does have its limits. A wife doesn't need to submit to her husband in sin, in this case, voting Democrat. So if you vote Democrat, you're sinning, you're behaving in an un-Christ-like way, apparently. In such cases, she submits to her husband's head, Christ. But outside of clear accounts of sin, she ought to conform and be one with her husband in all things. This is how a lot of this evangelical right, this puritanical, socially conservative right that regard women as second-class citizens or chattel property of their husbands or partners, that's what they believe. And the whole thing, I think was triggered by, and I mean, like it fell from really powerful remarks made by former First Lady Michelle Obama on this topic during a recent speech.
We have every right to demand that the men in our lives do better by us. We have to use our voices to make these choices clear to the men that we love. Our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment. And we are more than just baby-making vessels. And if you are a woman who lives in a household of men that don't listen to you or value your opinion, just remember that your vote is a private matter.
She's right. And actually, what's interesting, not only is your vote a private matter, again, cannot emphasize that enough. If you're an eligible voter, it doesn't matter how old you are, what your gender is, what your religious denomination is, if you're it doesn't matter. Conservative, progressive, it doesn't matter. You vote however the hell you want. Period. And I also like what the former First Lady, Michelle Obama, had to say, too, because it also, I think, skillfully reminds men and boyfriends. I have a girlfriend. I would argue I have a moral obligation to her as somebody who cares about her, moral responsibility to care about her well-being, and that should also influence my vote. And what Michelle Obama was saying, like, hey, listen, you may have not just grievance, but truly legitimate grievance with either the world or America or the Democratic Party or whatever. But you should also, when you go to vote, at least factor in how your vote coming to fruition. So if you vote for Vice President Harris, what the outcomes will be. If you vote for Donald Trump, what the outcome will be. To take that into consideration of how it will affect the women in your life, if you care about them. So I like that. I like how it says, Charlie Kirk seems to think that the onus, the obligation is always on women. But actually, in many cases, men also need to be factoring in the consequences of their decision and their political calculus. They can still vote however they want. husbands, boyfriends, we can all, I mean, you can ignore or discount or dismiss the needs and well-beings and preferences of your partner. I say you do that at the peril of your relationship. You can still vote however you want, but maybe it should matter to you that your vote for Donald Trump, as a specific example, did and could, yet again, if you do it again, have a deleterious impact on your wife, your mom, your daughters, your stepdaughters, your cousins, your nieces, your grandchildren, whatever. Maybe that's something to consider. And again, as a reminder, going all the way back to that ad, at the end of the day, if you're an eligible voter, you can vote however you want, even if your partner disagrees with it. Just remember that. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.